Who is this God that we're talking about that I should honor him? Some man made fictional creature. And if that's what you believe, more power to you. Who made God? I know many Christians don't ask this question, but there are scores of people who don't believe in God that ask the question, who made him? Where did God come from? To answer that question, there has to be some ground rules laid down. Otherwise, it'll make no sense. Just like with the Big Bang, there takes a certain amount of faith in the object in question to create in your mind the reality of it or the lack thereof. So here is the premise: God is real. And we know about God through his word. If that be the case, from what he said about himself, he is not created, he is a creator. He has no beginning and has no end. If that is indeed true, then the question of who created God is now null and void. If, however, you do not accept the premise that God wrote about himself, and that's where we got the information from, technically you can make God anything you want. You could make him with an end, you can make him with a beginning. It's really inconsequential because there are no ground rules for the existence of God. I see it this way: the same way that someone can take the Big Bang and believe it simply on the merits that scientists say it happened, I can easily take inferences that God exists because he said so. It comes down to belief, because you can't prove or disprove him by human standards. The only way you can prove or disprove God is by operating in the field that he performs in. Sure, he can create things, he has, but man can always explain that away. May not actually make sense, but they can explain it away. But the actual belief of where God came from is solely 100% based on whether or not you are willing, able, and capable of believing what he says about himself. There's no other options for it. The reason God cannot have a beginning and cannot have an end, if we were to look at this from a humanistic standpoint, there is no way he can call himself a God if he had either. If he's limited by time and space, he's not a God. If he's limited by matter, he's not a God. Nor is he omniscient, omnipotent, or all-powerful. He can't be any of those while existing in the framework that we set up for him, which is beginning and end. So the question really is this: is God something you want to believe in or not? Not whether or not he's believable, it's whether you choose to believe him. Many don't. Many want to find their reasonings in tangible, and I put that in air quotes, things, even though those tangible things change. We oddly still trust that over an unchangeable God. The other thing that comes with God is a bunch of responsibilities that we have to take for our actions. Many don't want to do that. That requires a whole bunch of intimate things to take place. So what do? We create reasons to not have to listen. One of those is, why should I listen to God? Who is this God that we're talking about that I should honor him? Some man-made fictional creature. And if that's what you believe, more power to you. But if you're asking someone who believes in God about the merits of God, then you have to put yourself where they are and how they form their belief. You can't assume that your version of a belief system is going to somehow be able to put like tracing paper over God and fit. Nor can you ask the person who believes in something that you don't believe exists. You can't expect them to apply your logic to what they already believe. If you come to him, you have to believe that he is, and he is a rewarder. That he is part is pivotal. Which is why not many will be saved, because they bury themselves in this little box of who created God. God is neither created, nor made up. He is real. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to follow God. You don't have to be a believer. You don't have to be a Christian. In fact, I would dare say you can do whatever you want with your life. It is all fair game. You can do alcohol till you pass out dying, drugs, sex. Heck, you can be the greatest good person ever. You don't have to choose God. Just remember one thing, though. Choosing him or not choosing him leaves a difference of torment or pleasure after life is over. When you die, you'll sober up to the reality real quick, but by then, too late. So who made God? Himself.